In this video today, the media fails to fact check Elon Musk. Cory Booker is still speaking after 24 hours on the Senate floor and major updates from the Wisconsin and Florida election. Let's start with this viral clip from Jim Banks.
Hi, I was a worker at HHS. I was fired illegally on February 14th. There are many people who are not getting social service programs, especially people with disabilities. Are you going to do anything to stop what's happening?
You probably deserved it.
I deserved it?
You probably deserved it.
I deserved it.
Dude, that's
wow.
So sad.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Why did I deserve it?
Because you seem like a clown.
Okay, sir, you shouldn't have said that.
And he didn't stop there. He actually went to X and put up the screenshot from the video of the smirk he had when the elevator door was closing. Now, I'm not too sure if this is a real video or a prank, given that it's April 1st. But if that was indeed a legitimate federal employee who was fired, I'm wondering, is that the same employee that got the severance package where they were going to be paid all the way until the end of this year? So yeah, I would also call them a clown if those details are absolutely true. Now, this really gets to the meat of this entire story, and that is the media and how painfully they continue to fail at fact-checking Elon Musk. Here he is on the 5 doing an interview, and Jessica confronts him on the main question that all Democrats have. Take a look at this.
Liberal Tesla lover here. My sister has 2 in her family, so have not thrown any Molotov cocktails recently. But I wanted to talk to you about what Doge has been doing. So you've been making cuts to a lot of the agencies that have open investigations and regulatory battles with your companies. At the same time, you continue to get billions in government contracts. Tesla gets billions in subsidies. How do you explain that to the American people?
Well, everything that Doge does is an open book. So I think the most transparent the most transparent organization in government ever. Every single Doge action is listed on the Doge.gov website. It's also listed on the X handle. So if anyone has a concern about any one of those actions, they can bring that up. They can raise that. And I do want to say, sometimes we make a mistake. Nobody bats 1,000. We will at times make a mistake, we'll act very quickly to correct it. I am under such an extreme spotlight, so much scrutiny, that it's literally impossible for me to get away with anything nefarious. And obviously, nor do I wish to. So this is a case where we have radical transparency. We're actually willing to admit that we do make mistakes. Often people are not willing to admit they make mistakes, but we are. But we want to emphasize we fix them quickly, and we're trying to do the right thing for the American taxpayer, for the American people. And I think history will be the judge that what we've done here and what we're doing is a very good thing for the strength and future of America.
That's the main argument from Democrats, is that Elon Musk holds contracts with the federal government. Tesla is continuing to get subsidies. SpaceX has contracts with the Pentagon. Now, guys, the value of these contracts is peanuts compared to Lockheed Martin or Boeing, for an example, or Pfizer, for an example. But this is what Democrats do. They pick and choose when they want to make a fuss about something. And because Elon Musk has aligned himself with President Trump, they're going to hate the man. And that's why we showed you the receipts from the Social Security scam that he exposed yesterday. But that still didn't stop the media, like Chris Cuomo, from questioning it.
There is no max inclusion or minimum collection or max benefit setting or button at Social Security. And I'm not nitpicking. This isn't parsing words. It's not semantics. It's not a distinction without a difference, okay? It's just not how Social Security works. The program uses a complex index and algorithm to figure out benefits based on our lifetime of earnings, okay? Every year, illegal immigrants do contribute to Social Security, over $20 billion. But did you know that they receive almost no benefits back?
All right, so let's go ahead and fact check Chris Cuomo, since he failed to fact check Elon Musk. The Social Security Administration has multiple programs inside the agency. Elon Musk was talking about one of those programs, okay? Now let's understand what I am talking about here. When your grandmother, grandfather, or anybody you know, or even yourself, if you're 62 years or older and you've been paying into Social Security, Which program are you going to be drawing from? It's called Social Security Retirement Benefits. Okay. What Elon Musk was talking about is called Supplemental Security Income. That's a separate program. And that's why I have it here on the screen from you. What are the differences? SSI is for someone who has a limited income, meaning your income is below $943 a month. Secondly, they are a U.S. citizen or a qualified alien. Pay attention. A qualified alien is someone who got granted asylum, a refugee, or a lawful permanent resident, or someone who is 65 years or older, blind, or disabled. That's how you can qualify for supplemental security income. And that's what Elon Musk was talking about. And that's why I told you guys mainstream media does not know what they're talking about. Now, this takes us to the next story about people that don't know what they're talking about. Here is Cory Booker staging a 24-hour speaking protest on the Senate floor, holding up business as usual because he, I guess, wants to stop President Trump. Take a look at this.
This is when the most precious ideas of our country are being tested, where the Constitution and the question is being called, where does the Constitution live, on paper or in our hearts? This is the moment. Generations get them. We're on a crossroads here, folks. Healthcare is on the balance. Veterans are on the balance. Priorities are on the balance. Where's our priorities, America? More tax cuts disproportionately going to the wealthy? Greater budget deficits in the trillions and trillions of dollars? Or are we going to do something different like John Lewis would call us to do? He would call us to get into good trouble, necessary trouble, save the soul of America. But you all know, John, don't hate each other.
Now, I have a few questions for the senator. Number one, over the past 24 hours, did you even condemn the violent acts against Tesla? Did you condemn the arson that took place in New Mexico? Did you condemn the, death threats that Elon Musk has been receiving? Of course you didn't. Question number two, what is the return on investment by you wasting your time for the past 24 hours? Because you're not stopping any piece of legislation. There's no filibuster here. And number three, are you able to provide any receipts for what you stated? You continue to push the lie that Elon Musk is gutting benefits in order to give tax cuts to billionaires, but he doesn't serve in Congress. Now, you know I don't buy anything that Cory Booker says, but it's really bad when even Democrats aren't buying it. Take a look at this.
The Democratic base and Democratic donors are looking for signs of life. And so I think what Senator Booker is giving them here is some signs of life. Is it going to have a tangible impact on business in Washington?
I mean, if he is still alive after this.
It's not. It may have a tangible impact on Senator Booker, but it won't have a tangible impact on business in Washington.
So they're laughing. They think it's a joke. They know it's not going to have an impact when it comes to what's happening in Washington as it pertains to getting pieces of legislation passed through Congress. But maybe there's another reason why Senator Booker is doing this. Maybe it's to show that there is some type of fight left in the Democratic Party. So for Republicans, do we care? Absolutely not. Is this a little entertaining for us? Sure. Is this a huge deal for Democrats? Absolutely. Because what else do they have to motivate them in a sense? And I think that's the point that CNN also was making in this clip.
For sure. I mean, the White House may not care about this, and they probably don't, but Democrats do. And here's why. Democrats are looking for someone to stand up, someone to sort of be fired up. And what is going to be coming later this year in New Jersey is a key governor's race. And that is exactly why things like this matter, because it gives Democrats sort of a sense of cohesion, that they aren't out in the wilderness. So no, there's not one speech that is going to stop the Trump agenda. Of course not. But it does show one senator that Democrats still have some fight in them. And that's what we have our eyes on as we're watching these races in Wisconsin tonight. That New Jersey governor's race is going to be a fascinating one to see if Democrats can hold on to that seat.
I believe this isn't really going to matter in the end. I think this is another desperate attempt after many desperate attempts from Democrats to try to find some type of momentum, some footing. And the problem here as well is that he's speaking for 24 hours to protest what exactly? Because the only crisis that I'm aware of is what we had to experience over the past 4 years. Now, here's Scott Jennings making that exact point. Take a look.
Definitely think it's representative of anger in the Democratic base. There's no question about that. And I think Booker's moves tonight are representative of the fact that there's a vacuum at the top of the Democratic Party. There's no leader. The only leader that really exists is Jasmine Crockett. She's the one you see on TV most often. Booker's trying to, fill some of that vacuum. I'm puzzled by his language, though. What is the crisis? You have a president of the United States that won the national popular vote and a landslide in the Electoral College. He is sitting, according to CBS News as of yesterday, at a 50% approval rating. What is the crisis? I mean, he's effectively executing on the policy agenda that he ran on, and he's sitting at about 50%, which is far higher than the last president. If this is a crisis, what was the Joe Biden term? A mega crisis? I don't know.
I think the crisis is that we're seeing people deported without due process. We're seeing the very fundamental aspects of our democracy at question. That's what people are scared about. And so they want to see. I think the one thing you and I can agree on, Scott, right now is the Democrats aren't doing what they need to do. Can we agree on that? Well,
I don't know.
I think we can all agree on that. Let me put it this way.
You raise a good question because I think, and look, my party's gone through this. You lose, and then everybody wants you to do something, right? What are we going to do? Sometimes there's not much to do until you get to the next election. That's the next great opportunity.
Now, the current leader of the Democrats, Jasmine Crockett, had this to say: disruption is all they seem to understand. So that's exactly what they're getting. For 14 hours, Senator Booker has been on the Senate floor, speaking truth within the rules. This cannot be business as usual when our democracy is on the line. Thank you, Senator. And in the comment section, people bring up a good point. Maybe she should be focusing on the fact that she assaulted a reporter and that she could potentially be going to jail. Now, I don't believe she will. I mean, let's just be real here, guys. But hey, I think she's got other problems that she should be focusing on, and I think that is the truth. And here's Congressman Chris Murphy. He said 90 minutes into the Cory Booker filibuster, which that's not what this is. But okay, he's now reading heartbreaking letters from Americans whose lives will be ruined if the Republican Medicaid cuts go through. Again, didn't I point this out with Social Security offices? Pay attention to the language they use. Whose lives will be ruined. Have not been ruined is missing, of course, if the Republican Medicaid cuts go through. What cuts exactly? 24% of American families get their insurance from state Medicaid programs. Up to 30 million will lose it. Well, why don't you guys focus on the fact that illegal immigrants are drawing from Medicaid? All right, so now we're on to our next story, and it really is a major update in regards to elections out of Florida and Wisconsin. And the great news here is we do have the hardcore numbers out of Florida and confirmed who has actually won those seats. So Randy Fine did win his seat, as you guys can see, almost by, 11 points at this point in time. And then we also have here Jimmy Patronis. He's also has a significant lead. 74% is reporting, but he's up by almost 8 points. So that's great news. So Republicans were able to maintain there. Now, some Democrats are arguing that Republicans should be sweating because the numbers should be higher, given that Florida is super red. But again, ladies and gentlemen, when you're talking about turnouts in these special elections, even midterms, that is a different scenario than a national election that we saw from President Trump. So overall, win is a win. However, for Republicans, there is a burden to actually take advantage of the opportunity we've been given. A huge coalition. We've got independents voting Republican. And if we don't make those connections and strengthen those relationships and also encourage voting, not just in national elections, but also in these special elections and midterms, we will lose a lot. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter.
It's a turnout game. And this is a condition of the Republican Party that is true. We now have a party that's made up of lower propensity voters. They tend not to vote when Donald Trump's not on the ballot. They turn out at lower rates, especially when elections are happening at odd times. And this is an issue the party's going to have to grapple with. Democrats have these higher propensity voters who turn out for everything. And I think it creates a mirage of what you just said, that maybe people are switching. I don't think they're switching. I just think the highest propensity voters are turning out. Democrats have a few more of those right now. I mean, that having been said, my advice to House Republicans right now is eat healthy, get on your treadmill. Try not to die if you live in a district that's any worse than either of these two between now and next November, or at least now in this summer when we got to pass a reconciliation bill, because it's thin margins. But the Republicans, I think, are going to hold this thin margin and hopefully hold it long enough to get Donald Trump's legislative agenda
That
across
sounds
the
like
line.
a diagnosis.
Now, one of the key developments as it pertains to the Wisconsin Supreme Court race is this. Multiple people are saying the same thing. And I'm going to read what Charlie Kirk posted. Hearing multiple reports that turnout in suburban rural areas is high. Some are telling us 40 to 50% higher than 2023. That was the last Supreme Court election, to be clear. These are areas we absolutely need to run up the score if we're going to offset the very predictable and regrettable late Milwaukee drops. We have to swamp the vote in these areas. Lines are out the door in multiple counties right now. And then he posted a photo of that, and that was an hour ago as me recording this video.
All right, well, the polls are closing at 8 p.m. It is Election Day after all. Now, we do have some breaking news to pass along. Some locations are experiencing ballot shortages due to the higher voter turnout. Election officials are telling people to stay in line, not to leave. They are right now working to bring more ballots to those certain locations that are impacted. Election officials expect those results to come in after midnight.
So by the time you watch this video, we're going to know more results from the Wisconsin election because the polls don't close until 9 p.m. Eastern time. And regardless of the outcome, Republicans are still going to have a lot of work to do between now and 2028. And it comes down to turnout, as you heard Scott Jennings say. All right, so this leads me to the question of this video, really two of them. What do you think about Cory Booker and his latest desperate attempt to, I guess, fight for Democrats? And secondly, what do you think about the failed attempt from Chris Cuomo to fact check Elon Musk? Why is it that they don't do the research and just report on what the facts actually say? Let me know what your reaction is to all of that in the comment section below. All right, so Republicans also got great news from the Attorney General this morning, Pam Bondi. She made two huge announcements. You're going to want to hear for yourself. Also, what's interesting, a Tesla owner caught the vandalism in act and recorded it. And so you want to check that out as well. So if you want to see both of those stories and more from earlier today, all you have to do is click on it because it's coming up right now.